I'm Branson.
And I'm an unshaven Dre.
Welcome to the Flyover Traveler.
Being a Bonvoy Gold Elite member, I decided to stay at the Barfield, which is a Marriott property. It's a great hotel. I normally don't like old style buildings and that kind of stuff, but this hotel was really, really nice. And coincidentally, it happened to be where our first stop of the trip was going to be. The core of the hotel was a nod to Amarillo's agricultural beginnings. Look at the cowhide elevator.
In the basement of the Barfield Hotel, there is a really awesome speakeasy. But it takes a little bit of time to figure out exactly where it is, and if you come to the right place, you'll find a cigarette machine. But you gotta know which cigarette lever to pull or you can't get in.
Once that door opens, you're transported back in time, or maybe to Vegas, and you find a very delightful bar. It was unusually packed because this was, I think, a Thursday when we were there, and it was full of people. It looked like an after-work crowd, but it was packed, really packed.
The house specialty is an old-fashioned made with still Austin whiskey. Very delightful indeed. So I actually didn't stay at the Barfield Hotel. I stayed at the Courtyard just 2 blocks away, but again, a really great hotel in a historical building. But I did want to meet Dre back at the Barfield for some delicious breakfast.
Work comes first, so I had to wrap up the call I had with my team to make sure they got the day started down in Houston. Then I met Branson downstairs for some eggs Benedict and the rest of a delightful breakfast.
So we're going to a canyon, but I don't see anything that looks like a canyon out here. It's just ranching land. What do you see?
Nothing. I'm looking at the map. It looked like the geography is about to change, but this, and I'm starting to reconsider renting this Tesla because there's definitely, if we had a juice, bro.
Yep. There's not any charging stations out here. There are in Amarillo. Amarillo has charging stations, but not out here. So, well, we'll just see. Hope for the best.
Finally, we made it to Pampa Canyon with enough juice to spare.
Fortunately, I remembered to pack my fireworks, and it seemed like a really good day to set them off.
Okay, listen. That was a joke, everybody. We did not set fire to the Texas Panhandle.
It's actually very deceiving because you drive over so much flat land, but then all of a sudden, you come upon something truly beautiful.
I'm Dre.
I'm Branson.
We are here in Pampa Canyon. Welcome to the newest installment of Hungover Heights.
The coffee had really started to wear off and we're really starting to feel the effects from the night before, but we do what we do.
So there are plenty of trails up here, but I think somewhere along the way, Branson and I got tossed up and we just were walking along a road.
And the cacti is not as cuddly as it looks. I only got a few pricks though, it wasn't too bad.
I avoided the cacti, but it was the bugs and that I didn't like.
Yes, indeed. It is Sir Andre of the outdoors.
On the way to the next stop, we came across a streetwalker.
One thing I've learned about Dre in all of our travels is that he's really good at making friends, and today was no exception.
Now,
Moo. Moo. You did something. So after we left our cow friend, I decided to let the Tesla navigate us to Lake Meredith. Needless to say, we got lost.
So after we backed out of someone's driveway to turn around, we began the journey down to Lake Meredith. You know, even if we had done everything right, it's still somewhat confusing to get to. You have to drive through an industrial area, through some neighborhoods, but the end reward is definitely worth it. Take a look. I had a look around and I couldn't find Dre, but I found him on the water's edge looking for something to drink.
I was thirsty, but not that thirsty. After we left Lake Meredith, our priority turned into curing this range anxiety. This Tesla was not the best idea here. Amarillo has 2 charging stations. One of them serves I-40 for people primarily traveling through the city. The other one is closer in. So we headed to Amarillo's most iconic destination, which was the Cadillac Ranch. And these were no Escalades buried in the ground, ladies and gentlemen.
The thing that I noticed the most wasn't even the fact that there were cars buried in the ground. Rather, it was the amount of spray paint that was caked up on each one. You see, it's kind of a tradition to bring your spray paint to the Cadillac Ranch and spray whatever it is you want on them. But over the years, it's a lot of spray paint there.
So me being the gearhead that I am, I had a lot to say about this, and I'm saying a lot, as you can see. However, at the edit phase, the wind really washed out what I was saying, if you guys were paying attention anyway. But it was probably good. Maybe I'm biased.
Forget being able to even hear it in edit. I couldn't understand you, and I was 5 feet away from you.
Model 3 at the Cadillac Ranch, which is the opposite of everything, right? Like, for example, those Cadillacs he had ranged from like late 1950s vintage on up to, you know, a well-tail, the big Finn Cadillac, right?
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Say that. And so Cadillacs today are now your big body Escalades and whatnot. They've come a long way from what you see at the Cadillac Ranch.
well, the guy who buried them, his name is Stanley Marsh. He was actually my grandmother's second cousin.
Say what?
The guy who buried the Cadillacs, his name is Stanley Marsh, was my grandmother's second cousin.
So all that I was talking about and all, and you know the people that did the ranch we just went to?
I don't know him. I mean, he
Excuse me, you related to him?
very distantly, yes.
Why must you always one up my story? You must one up my story, man. Your cousin is the person who buried the Cadillacs at the Cadillac Ranch?
Well, I mean, he was my grandmother's second cousin.
Oh.
So after we got back to Amarillo, it was time to hit the club.
Or just hit a few bars. I mean, I had a 6 a.m. flight the next morning. I wasn't going to be going to the club. But I also wanted a few drinks.
The first stop was a tequila bar named the Matador. Not only were the drinks pretty good, if you like tequila, they actually had some pretty good advice.
I don't know. That advice didn't serve me so well when I was single. After we finished our tequila, we went to the next spot, Charlie's, which is like a sports bar, but with a really good whiskey selection and really great service.
With dinner time upon us, we presented ourselves to OHMS, On Her Majesty's Service.
I honestly don't even know how to describe this place without sounding like a total suck-up or like I'm being paid to talk about it. But the food was phenomenal.
And let me tell you something. I've been listening to this talk about this place for months, and he was correct. This food was absolutely delicious and so unexpected, so far off the beaten path.
Well, we got to leave Amarillo on a high note. That meal was phenomenal, and we really enjoyed our time in Amarillo.
Thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you stay updated to where we're heading next.